Stan with 3D Painting. Recently, I've heard some teachers talking about different options from teacher pay teachers, and they talked about a site called Classful. Now, I'm not endorsed or supported by any of these sites. I currently actually do have, but I do have stores open on both of them. And for this video, I'm gonna kind of go through and compare them. Now, I just started with Classful about a month ago, and really kind of started seriously uploading things to it maybe a couple weeks ago. So I haven't had a long track record with Classful, but I would like to give my impressions on it. So if you are familiar with Teacher Pay Teachers, it's a site where teachers could sell lesson plans online, and it's a great way for teachers to support themselves. It's extra income. Plus, if they have really quality, good resources that can actually benefit other teachers, it's far better to get those kind of resources from a field teacher than it is to get them from a textbook author. I'm sorry if you write textbooks, but a lot of the textbooks that we use in schools are terrible for a lot of reasons. And Teachers Pay Teachers and other sites like this give other teachers access to resources that we actually need. Now, I'm going to have a PDF file on both my Teacher Pay Teacher and Classful site, and I'll include the links to both below. And so if you'd like to support this channel, this PDF is going to be free, but other lessons are for sale. Now, on both these platforms, you could sell a wide range of classroom activities, lesson plans, labs, and whatever other digital or handouts you need. Now, Classful has a little more classification based on what kind of resources they are. So they have a bigger menu from you to choose from. But with Teacher Pay Teachers, I think what administrators will like is that you could tag it based on resources, as well as by common categories, so like history, science, English, math. That's one downside of Classful, is that it is not tagged. It won't let you tag to any standards, and administrators unfortunately will like having you be able to justify it saying it meets standards, and Classful just hasn't done that yet. I don't know if they're planning to do in the future, or if they're just planning on letting the teachers justify it on their end. That's a little bit lazy on Classful's part. Teachers Pay Teachers is better on this, because then districts could say, oh yes, our teachers are purchasing lesson plans that actually meet standards, and we could actually prove it. And this just provides a better paper trail for that. Classful is a little better organized for the categories of resources, I think. Not only is the list a little broader, it's just a little cleaner and a little more organized. I think TPT could do a little bit better of doing that, and probably also to work on that, I'd say maybe just clean it up and update it a little bit. I'll get to some more things about TPT's website layout in a little bit. Now, both sites have ways to support teachers, so they could do fundraising to purchase lesson plans online instead of paying out of pocket. With Teacher Pay Teachers, it's through school access, and this is where schools could set up an account, and basically the teachers access that and purchase materials through the school. They also have Class Fund, where you could basically do a campaign fundraising, or a fundraiser, just like Donors Choose or any other Kickstarter platform, and use that to purchase or raise funds to purchase these lesson plans directly. Now, Classful doesn't have like these separate dedicated programs, and what I like is that they've actually kind of integrated better with like a Kickstarter type campaign. So if you're used to any of those crowdfunding sites, the teacher would set up a campaign and get funding. And so they do it. Classful will let you fundraise for your PTO, PTA organization. Will also let you fundraise for your school, and as well as your individual classroom. So it has a few more options to go at the school level and PTO level, which is different because TPT does not have that directly. Um, so I think going after the PTO is actually a good thing for Classful. It gets them into a market that TPT hasn't touched yet. It'll be interesting in the future seeing how PTOs take care of or handle the fundraising through this. Uh, so the fundraising part is fairly the same across both platforms, but I think Classful has a little bit of an edge just going after the PTOs. Um, Teachers Pay Teachers is a little more established in terms of working directly with the schools. So that's going to be an area of competition between the two. To other resources that these platforms offer, Teachers Pay Teachers has a branch called Easel, and these are actually digital tests that teachers can write and post. And these will integrate with a classroom system like Blackboard or Canvas, and you could use these as part of an assessment for your grades and data-driven measurements. And teachers could also attach these tests to their other digital items that they sell, and have that as part of a package for teachers to buy. Teachers Pay Teachers also had a thing called Easel Certified Sellers, and this is for people that have gone through a little bit of professional development to learn how to best write Easel tests. But this is very new, so remains to be seen how effective that program is going to be. But you can purchase tests that are ready to download and grade and put into your CSM, and then assign to your class. You can put them in Google Drive, and using that you can have the tests graded automatically. So this is a great option for your at-home students, homeschool, or as a sick plan. Classful, however, does not have that in kind of system like that set up. They just have the test as PDF forms or documents. So you would have to take those and then write a test based off of them. So I think Classful just hasn't caught up to that point yet. It would be interesting in the future to see if Classful does something like that. Now, at this point, you might be wondering really what's kind of the pay scale or difference between the two. Now, Classful is kind of interesting because right now they're saying it's only a 5% transaction fee plus a 2.9% processing fee plus 30 cents. But I always found there was something a little weird about their advertising on this, because they say there's no platform fee, which is true at 0%. But other sites really don't have a platform fee at all. They just call it a straight transaction fee or a handling fee or something like that. So the part in Classful's advertising where they say it's 0% processing fee or 0% platform fee is true, but it's kind of like saying there's a zero in your accounting book. It's just a placeholder. So the advertising right there is technically legal, I think, but how it comes across is it's like an extra added item for the accounting that shouldn't even be there. So it feels like some shady advertising more than anything else. I hope they look at that and try and change it in the future. It just would be easier to say only charge a 5% transaction fee, because I don't see payout or platform fees on other platforms like Etsy, eBay, Amazon. They don't call it a platform fee, they just call it a transaction fee. Kind of out of place for both the platform and as an advertising item. Now, it is free to set up an account in Classful, and there's no subscriptions for any of the types of accounts they have. So there is that going for it. They do get their 5% off, 5% cut on the end with the transaction fees. Now, with Teacher Pay Teachers, they have a free and subscription-based account. So with the free account, they get about 45% of the sale on a free account. So it's very high for a beginner or basic seller. And it's not the most economical if you're actually trying to do this on a large scale. So it does drive you to go for a premium seller account, which is about $60 or $59.95. And with that, it is nicer because you do get 80% of all sales. And the transaction fees are downgraded as well. The basic sellers get charged 30 cents per sale, and premium sellers get charged 15 cents if it's under $3. So that's nicer if you're trying to sell like individual worksheets or little handouts. 15 cents is a lot better than 3%, or the 5% the Classful charges. So it's kind of a trade-off based on what resource you're selling. Premium sellers also could upload larger file sizes. I didn't see anything about file restriction sizes in Classful. So if you're planning to sell like whole textbooks or something like that, maybe Classful might be a better option. You'll have to check with them and actually see what happens when you upload larger file sizes. Another benefit to having a subscription account with Teacher Pay Teachers is they do have premium marketing tools, so you can get a better overview of how your market's going, and greater advertising resources, because they do publish a monthly newsletter, and you could advertise directly in that, as well as other kind of behind-the-scenes perks in terms of communications and other items. Now, Teacher Pay Teachers also has the School Access. So that's the marketplace where schools could sign up and set up an account and buy from you through their school account. And you could join that on both a free and paid account. But I've actually found that the School Access has actually been a pretty good thing for teachers, because teachers don't like paying for files out of their pocket, even though they do. But if the school has a budget set aside for this, then that helps teachers a lot directly, and it's good for the sellers, teacher authors, including myself, because I think, if I had to guess, I'd say about 40 to 50% of my sales are directly to schools in this School Access catalog. Now, another thing that kind of both sites don't like to show off is their payment platform and fees. So Teacher Pay Teachers used to work exclusively through PayPal, and they changed that I think about 2 years ago, or actually last year, and they have a new platform through Hyperwallet. Now, Hyperwallet works with banks, PayPal, and Venmo, and it's pretty much one process server, that payment process company that works with all of them. Now, the nice thing with that is it will transfer directly to your bank or to PayPal or Venmo, whatever your preferred payout is. That being said, there might be some transaction fees with the individual institutions, so you have to check on that site. And the payout is generally the 21st of the month in teacher pay teacher, so you get a check a month. And it's always nice seeing that payment from them and figuring out, oh, you've actually made a few hundred every month doing this. I think realistically, if you want to sell lesson plans and you're active and putting some effort into it, you could probably make anywhere from 50 to a few $100 a month. If you have a really great resource, or if you're really pushing, you could probably get to a few thousand a month. Don't expect to be a teacher pay teacher millionaire. There's only a few of those, and maybe about I think their stats say it's like 160 teachers are above 50,000. But when you think about it, a few hundred a month, that's your rent or that's your utilities. Anything to help you, I think, and it's all passive, so it's based on a lesson you wrote, 2 years ago or 5 years ago, whatever, and you're continually making money off of what you did. So you're making up for for unpaid development time and the fact that you can't use that lesson anymore because you're not in school, or it's a good lesson. So, it's a good hustle for using what you know in education. So Classful uses a different payment platform called Stripe, and that's actually one I've seen on other website platforms and online stores. It's real popular just because it's kind of a flat fee. And so they charge 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. And that's a flat fee, which is nicer than some of the other odd percentages you might get with like Hyperwallet or PayPal. I'll have to see how I feel about that after I've made a lot more sales on Stripe or on Classful. So I'll have to see how I feel about that in the future. Now, for other perks that these sites have, Classful just has not had, I think, the time to establish themselves or to really get a following enough to justify kind of these bigger conferences. So right now, the only real perk that I've found is that they have a blog section that has content-specific areas. So it's one-stop shop to help you write better materials for English or math or anything like that. And I think in the future, maybe Classful could diversify and add some stuff to it, but that remains to be seen. Now, Teacher Pay Teachers has what's called TPT Forward, and that's an annual conference where they have different presenters, different workshops, and all sorts of activities for teachers to meet in person, or last year it was completely online. And you could go, and it's a chance to travel, but also it's a chance to learn from other professional teachers in the field on what makes the best TPT resources. So this year the TPT Forward is in Chicago, and I'm debating going to it myself. I was at 2021 online last year. So Teacher Pay Teachers has this as a more established workshop set and perk for attendees. And it's nice having that professional development in place for teachers to really learn from the best in TPT. So overall, what do I think about both these platforms? I think on the positive side, Teachers Pay Teachers is pretty much the market leader for selling lesson plans from and by teachers. And it's been established across the country. In terms of just availability of resources to teachers, you're going to find a lot of positive, well-written lessons that you could always have access to. And it's always great when lessons are field tested and written by teachers instead of textbook writers. And Teacher Pay Teachers has been known for having current events and current lesson plans written fairly quickly. So when a teacher sees a current event and is able to flip it into a lesson and go from there, that's been very positive. With Classful, I think it's a lot better integrated with fundraising platforms like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. And if you're used to something like Donors Choose, you could write a campaign fairly quickly to raise funds to purchase lessons online. Classful also is great because it has that integration to help support PTOs and schools directly. So all these sites have ways to support schools to purchase these materials for the teachers. Some other positives about Teacher Pay Teachers is that the easel platform to write assessments is really great for saving time and integration with your classroom's management system. The subscription service that TPT offers for premium membership does give teachers a better cut of what they make as a compared to the 45% they charge for free membership. And the premium membership gives you access to more marketing tools and better advertising as a seller, which is great if you plan to make more doing this, or if you want to be more serious about selling your resources online. Classful, another positive is that the 5% fee that they charge is definitely a little more appealing if you want to prospect on different lessons, or if you want to test the market on some new activities you're doing. And the 5% fee they take out is more attractive for any size product. It just remains to be seen how the transaction fees from Stripe start eating into that as well. Unfortunately, none of the sites like to advertise that, yeah, we have to deal with these third-party processors that get their chunk along the way. Now, with the positives comes some negatives. Teachers Pay Teachers is the largest site for selling lesson plans, but that's gotten it some attention as well. And unfortunately, there is a wide variety of quality in terms of what's available. I've seen professionally written activities and labs that would meet every science standard necessary. And I've seen everything from those edutainment labs that are just like, whoa, vinegar and baking soda volcano, and just low-level labs that just don't have any quality or actual educational value to them. So you do have to be aware of what you're buying. This goes for both sites. And yes, I've seen where someone tried to write a lesson plan, didn't spell check it, didn't do anything, and they expected to give the students this as a handout. So you do have to be aware of that. And there's also been widespread some allegations of copyright violations where people have been ripping off popular content, and reselling it, or claiming they modified it for like Instagram or something. So you do have to be cognizant of that and network with other teachers around you. TPT has been around since about 2006. So if you look at the website, it does some parts of it look a little bit dated and don't have the kind of flow and layout of more contemporary sites. But that kind of shows its evolution over time. So the site is really stable and does work real well, but it's, I think, a little clunkier and showing its age from Classful. Classful I think in terms of appearance is a little better. It's just a little bit cleaner layout, a little bit better organized. Now, in terms of visibility, Classful is definitely rising in the teacher market, but it hasn't established itself by any means. It doesn't have anything like easel on it, so if you get a test from Classful, you're going to have to integrate it into your classroom management system, or you're going to have to administer the test by hand. Their list of available resources right now is actually pretty small in comparison. Like Teacher Pay Teachers is in the millions of resources, and I think Classful is at a few thousand right now. So if you actually want to jump in and start on the kind of ground level of Classful, now actually would be a good time. I didn't like their advertising on this when I found out about the platform fee. That's kind of a not fee at all. So overall, I think both platforms, Teachers Pay Teachers and Classful, are viable options as a side hustle for teachers. So if you have a lesson that you thought went well and you think other teachers would benefit from, feel free to post them both on TPT and Classful. And I have stores open on both of them, and I'll include the links below. And if you would like a copy of this document, so overall I think both platforms are viable. I'm actually going to prospect on some lessons in the future on Classful first, just to see if it's worth posting to Teacher Pay Teachers. And I'm going to be selling the plans that I have on Teacher Pay Teachers on Classful as well, just to kind of double my chances. Having two hustles or having two sales is always a good idea because one platform could drastically change. And if you have two, that gives you some diversity and keeps you from relying too much on one platform, like people rely on YouTube too much. So I'm going to include the free version of this PDF document that you see on the screen here. And so this will be on both sites, and the links will be below. And the class stores that I have for both will also be below as well. So if you like what you see, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment or send me a message.